Hello and welcome to the Lending Podcast. We are your hosts today. We got birthday man today, JB, coming in the house on his day that we celebrate his birth many moons ago. And I'm Jeff Jones. We are here to give you some education, some entertainment, some edutainment about the housing market. And we are coming from a lender perspective. We are in our offices of Benchmark Mortgage here in Austin, Texas. And our goal is to give you just good information to make good decisions. This is our 60th episode.
60.
That's not how old you are.
No.
But that's how old our episodes are.
So I'm a little younger than 60.
I think we hit a year on this podcast.
Yes, we're just over a year.
Yeah, so that's
Congrats.
Terrific.
Yes. Woo. Thank you to everyone out there who has listened, who has interacted, and who has supported us. We are very, very grateful for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk about, is now the right time to buy? And if, for those of you out there, first-time buyers, if you're thinking, okay, if I buy right now, am I getting a good deal? Should I wait, right? What's going on with interest rates? It's almost the 1st of March, or by the time this goes out, it probably will be the 1st of March, 2025. And so we have some projected appreciation data that we can share with you. Of course, depending on your source, you're going to get some different numbers there. And so the main thing to know, and we talk about this a lot, is it's really about your time in the market, not timing the market, right? So buying a house and holding a house and having it for 3, 5, 7, 10 years, over time, we know that asset is going to appreciate. Is it going to appreciate the first 6 months you own it? Maybe, maybe not. Is it going to appreciate the first year you own it? Maybe, maybe not. We have some stats that say that it will. And we'll also talk about interest rates and see what's going on in that market. Yeah.
So if you're a first-time home buyer looking to buy a home anytime this year or next year, or just dream to do so, our goal is to really give you encouragement. This might be the right time to do it. And I think that people that wait to buy a house, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's probably not a good decision to wait. If you have the ability to do it now, and there are many ways to get, down payment assistance or a monthly payment that's within your budget right now. And so we don't want that to dissuade people, because in our line of work, we love making people's dreams come true, because the equity of a home is one of the biggest catalysts to really a life of financial freedom.
That's right.
And so starting that early in life, starting that anytime in life, it's always good to start.
Right.
And so we want to encourage it as much as possible, not just for our own job security, but because it does work. And so, example, I bought my house 6 years ago. 6 years ago.
2019. Mm-hmm.
And over 6 years, it has gained $120,000 in appreciation in equity.
Wow.
I don't know any other investment I have that's going to gain $120,000 just in equity.
Yeah.
In 6 years.
Yeah. And so if you think about how much you put down and then how much you've gained, it's like 400 or 500% return.
Yeah.
I mean, multiples on that money.
Well, we bought it for $300, in Buda, Texas, and it's worth $420 right now.
Yeah.
So it's simple.
And did you put 5% or 10% down?
I did 10%.
10% down. So $30,000 down. So that $30,000 has made you $120. Again, I would challenge. There's maybe a handful of stocks that you could have made that in, 400% return, but that's an amazing cash on cash return.
And if we were to, rent a house exactly like ours in our neighborhood, I would be spending $700 more a month.
Wow. Yeah.
Compared to my mortgage and interest and taxes.
Yeah, because rents.
So my mortgage, interest, taxes, and even HOA dues is still $700 cheaper than a house renting in my neighborhood.
Wow. And I think that's something really important for our buyers out there that are considering this timing question. Is now the right time? Rents will continue to go up because property taxes will continue to go up. Home insurance will continue to go up. And there are tax advantages as a homeowner. When your taxes go up, it's more that you can deduct from your IRS, from your tax return, right? Because it's a higher deduction. Your interest is fixed in most loan programs. The loan programs we do, majority of are fixed. And so the only variables when you own a home is, yes, your insurance is going to go up a little bit and your taxes may go up a little bit year over year. When you're a renter, that's going to happen as well.
Yeah.
So at least with the home ownership, obviously you're getting equity paid out, you're getting equity build. What does that actually look like over time? And you're paying down the principal of the loan, which is increasing that equity. Balance of the loan goes down, value of the home goes up. Over time, it's a huge gap. And there's some interesting studies that show that home ownership, on average, home ownership versus being a renter, you're 40 times more like your net worth is 40 times higher as a homeowner on average than you are as a renter.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think the equity growth over time, like what you said, those are real numbers.
Yeah.
And everybody in our area, Texas is one of the fastest growing states of home equity.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you're looking at what has happened historically in equity growth, that gives you a picture of the trends. Right. And so a lot of people will talk about what it's currently doing. We're seeing a decline in for sale prices. We're seeing a decline in rates. And you're wondering out there as a buyer, should I buy, or are prices going to go down? Are rates going to go down? And here's our answer is find a monthly payment that you're happy with. Find the house you love. Make the best negotiation you can because you have a great realtor, you have a great lender partner. They work together to get you concessions maybe. And you get a killer deal on a home. You get a great monthly payment. And now you start building that equity, right? That's what we want people to do, because if you start waiting to see if things go down or up, you don't know, but over time they go up.
Yeah. Get in the game.
Get in the game.
You're basically you're on the sidelines right now as a renter. You need to get in the game as a buyer so that you can participate in that equity appreciation over time. And that's really and truly the number one thing that we see, the conversations we have 5 years after someone's bought a house, 7, 8 years after you've bought a house, is the conversations become now about how do I tap into that equity to maybe, grab some of that equity out and then go buy a second property or sell that and take the gains. We've talked about this before. Gains are tax-free on an owner-occupied sale. So if you live in a home, and this is something that's really important, if you live in a home for 2 years, 24 months, and you sell your house, every single dollar of those proceeds is tax-free, up to $250,000 if you're an individual taxpayer, and up to $500,000 if you're a married couple.
Yeah.
That's $250,000 per person of tax-free gains. So there's some parlay effect, if you will. Buy a house for $300, sell it for $350, buy something for $400, sell it for $500 over the course of 5, 10, 15 years, and that's kind of how you can accomplish that move up. And so if you're thinking to yourself, I want to wait for rates to come down or prices to come down because I need a lower payment, I love what you said. Go find a home right now that fits the budget. It might not be your dream home. Get in the game, let that appreciation take hold, and then you're selling your house in a couple of years and you're moving up at that point. Yeah.
And a lot of this depends on where you buy. The state of Texas is growing at a really good general rate. But if you're focusing on the Austin area, like where we are located, we do all of Texas for loans. So if you're anywhere in Texas, need a loan, love to help you. If you're in Austin, we'd love to meet with you in person and help you out. Austin has a higher price point than most of the state. And so what's interesting is the appreciation grows faster. So in 2017, the average price of a home in Austin was $333,000.
Yeah.
You can't find that in the city limits anymore. No. In the city limits, the average price point right now is $585.
Okay, so
$333 to $585.
In how many years?
From 2017 now, it's 8 years.
8 years, $250,000.
Probably $7.5 is from
$250,000. Yeah. $250,000 in an average price. Now, will we see another $250,000 from today to 7 or 8 years from now? Maybe not. We don't know.
Well, maybe. Because if you look at the history of Austin growth, every 10 years it has doubled its population. So, good chance.
Yeah, good chance.
Unless that changes.
The Chamber of Commerce is still saying 140 people are moving here a day.
Yeah.
In greater Austin. So we're still seeing the population growth. Obviously, that increases demand. Yes, the job market will ebb and flow. Yes, interest rates will go up, go down. Yes, prices of the certain neighborhoods will change a little bit. But again, you want to get on the conveyor belt, get on that acceleration of equity train so that you can build your net worth. And also keep in mind there's some other tax advantages too.
Yeah.
As a W-2 person out there, if your employer participates in a 401k, you could be putting money in a 401k,
Yeah.
so you're getting equity growth in your stock portfolio, through your 401k and investments, and you're getting equity growth through your real estate, and you're getting both, right? You're getting appreciation in both, and that's what you need. That's how wealth is built. The stock market wealth is built through real estate.
Right.
Those two things. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's good. And there's been if you ever hear forecasts out there, I know we talk about forecasts, they're only as good as which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
And so as soon as a new data point comes out, all forecasts change.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at forecasts from 3 months ago, whether it's like, NAR, Fannie Mae, MBS, they all projected a decline in rates in the average national rate of a 30-year fixed mortgage to be in the 6.3s to 6.5s, because they were showing a decline by the end of the year to start 2025. That never happened. We didn't really hit a good movement on the rate until a week ago, right? And then the last week, it's been great. We've had a huge betterment for rates going down.
Yep.
And so their forecast was off, and we still aren't to where they were forecasting just from 3 months ago. That was not that long ago. And so now everyone's forecasts are everyone wants to give you good news.
Yeah.
No one wants to forecast bad news.
Right.
And we haven't had bad news. We've had the same for a very long time.
There's maybe some overly optimistic analysts out there, but I think what we've seen is very conservative approaches to the rate forecasts. However, let's talk. I'm glad you brought up interest rates, because here we are.
That's my segue.
We're the end of February 2025 here, and since about mid-January, so I think it's January 16th or 18th, can't remember exactly, but that was the low point in the last 3 months or so, maybe even like 6 months, of bond prices. So again, mortgages, mortgage pricing, mortgage rates are determined by the bond market. They're not determined by the Fed. They're not determined by the 10-year Treasury.
Right.
Yes, those things kind of move in harmony sometimes. The 10-year Treasury and interest rates tend to move in the same path. But specifically, the mortgage-backed securities, which is the mortgage bond market, is what drives interest rates. And so if you look at mid-January, it was the worst bond prices that we've had in like the last 6 months. Well, low bond prices means higher yields. Higher yields means higher rates. So you could say the worst rates we've had in the last 6 months were basically middle of January.
Yeah.
And now, just since mid-January to the end of February, so we're talking 6 weeks, just less than 6 weeks, we have seen mortgage rates come down 0.5 point just with bond market movement. That is 0.5 point that the media is not really covering. I mean, you might see it subtly out there, but there's been no economic event. There's been no Fed meeting or something that has driven those rates down. It's been a flock of investors to the bond market. Stocks have sold off a little bit. Obviously, it's the first of the year. There's obviously a new administration in. There's a lot of volatility, maybe economic uncertainty in some aspects, and that has caused the bond market to do well. So here we are. We've seen the lowest mortgage rates we've seen this past week that we've seen in 6 months.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying, and if this is amazing information to people and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about how interest rates move and how the bond market affects it, episode 17 is a great one. So go back in our archives,
Deeper
episode
dive.
17 on interest rates explained. So that's a good one. But I agree that, this is the best we've seen in 6 months for when it comes to monthly payment and getting your home. So this is that to me tells me it's a great time to buy, right? And so if you've been getting quoted and you talked to a lender a couple months ago to get pre-approved and monthly payment was just a little too high, talk to them again, circle back, because that monthly payment's probably gone down, right? So as rates continue to go down, your payment goes down. And that's really the end result.
And when your monthly payment goes down with rates coming down, that actually increases the amount that you can qualify for.
Right.
So while we haven't seen home values necessarily spike in 6 weeks, we've seen rates come down to the point where If you were pre-approved for 400,000 6 weeks ago, you might be 425
Right.
to 450 now.
Right.
Just because of a little market movement. I say little, it's fairly substantial in the last 6 weeks. To move interest rates a half a point in 6 weeks is a lot of movement.
Yeah.
And so we're even seeing some clients that are talking about refinancing already. Maybe they're in the mid to high sevens. They can get in the mid sixes. But we locked some loans this past week in the low sixes. Again, the specific loan type matters. If it's VA, if it's FHA,
Right.
if it's conventional, it might be a little higher than some of those government loans. But seeing that those rates come down, it's encouraging. And now we're seeing a little bit more momentum build.
Yeah. So if I had a magic 8 ball of what this market will do with price point of where houses are at, I think that they're not going to move a lot more. They're definitely not going to go up a lot more, and they're not going to go down a lot more in the next 6 months.
Right.
In my opinion. And that's
I
just
agree.
my opinion. It's not the opinion of anybody else's. But that's just the numbers I see, the trends I see, you put them together, and that's just what it looks like. What that means is nothing I don't know, exciting to report. It's like more of the same. So what you're seeing is still a decent deal out there. And what you're seeing in mortgage rates is it's a lot better than it was 6 months ago or in the last 6 months. So right now is a great time to jump on it because there's not a lot of people putting offers on the home.
Right.
And so you don't have a lot of competition. The houses that are priced right are getting multiple offers.
Absolutely.
So that is still happening. So if you see a house you love, you want to jump on it. You want to get pre-approved before you go shop and be primed to put your best foot forward and hopefully win that deal. And we got plenty of episodes on how to win a deal, how to close fast. Check those out.
Yeah.
But all in all, we're sitting here March 2025. It is an amazing time to buy. And that's what we want people to know. We're seeing rates better. We're seeing housing prices stabilized. We already had the correction. They were already priced very high compared to what they are now last year. So we've had a course correction on pricing already. And so we're sitting at a really good spot.
Yeah, and I think, if you're a buyer out there and you're seeing, maybe you're following a certain neighborhood and you're seeing price reduction, and you're saying to yourself, they're going to continue to go down. I think what you nailed, the point that you nailed home is that there is a certain floor right now that, yes, there are some homes that may have additional price reductions, but what's happening is when it hits the right price, the market price, the demand jumps. The most recent one we got in, the contract we got in this week, there was 3 offers, multiple offers on that home.
Yeah.
So it's February, almost March 2025. This isn't even really the busy buying season.
It's not far away though.
And it's not far away, and yet we're already seeing multiple offers. Why are we seeing multiple offers on certain properties? Because when they are priced well, when homes are in really good shape, they show well, and nice online pictures, a good presence online, but then also you see it in person, like, wow, this is really nice, and we're seeing that activity bump. So also if you're a seller out there and you're thinking, I'm thinking about selling and buying, this is a conversation we've touched on a little bit. But is now the right time to sell your home? Well, again, if you think about how the tide goes out and the tide comes in, right? And it changes the water level, just like equity in homes and pricing for homes. If you're able to, maybe you're not selling at the absolute top dollar where you would have been 3 years ago, and hindsight's 2020, of course. But if you're selling your house at a fair price and then you're buying a house at a fair price, that tide is moving both ways. Right. It helps you on the buy. Maybe you didn't get as much as you thought you were going to get on the sale, but you're also buying a house with really good value, and you're not having to overpay with 10, 15, 20% over list price, which is what we saw for a couple of years there. It was bonkers. So that's something to consider as a seller. And I think a lot of our sellers feel stuck out there because they have a good interest rate. They have a good amount of equity, but they're saying to themselves, I can't sell and get rid of this rate. But yet at the same time, there might be some debt that can get paid off. There might be some debt to get restructured. And you can then take that equity, tax-free in many cases up to that certain level, pay off, and really, I hate to say start over, but you're hitting reset.
Yeah.
Right? You're not starting over, but you're taking that equity, repositioning it, into a new home. And maybe that's right sizing. You don't need as much house, or maybe your family's growing, you need more house. And there's just a lot of conversations we're having about selling and buying. And the folks that we closed yesterday, they bought before they sold, and now they're going to prep their house and get it listed and get on the market for the spring buying season. But we were able to help them buy before they sold because they got an off-market deal, really fair price. That actually had plenty of equity when they moved into the home because it appraised for more than they were buying it for.
Yeah.
The seller priced it right. Maybe priced it a little under market value. So really just a ton of different scenarios. And I think our first-time buyers, this episode is probably more geared toward you. However, you may know somebody, or even you're listening to this and you own a property and you're thinking, should I sell and buy, or buy before I sell? Those are conversations we can have too.
Yeah. So that was good. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So again, we're here for you. We hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and feel free to comment to wish this guy a happy birthday.
It's a pleasure being with you on my birthday today.
That was good. So again, like, subscribe, share to the Lending Podcast. Thank you so much. Anything, final words, JB?
Final words I would say as we enter the spring season, lean on your professionals around you, right? Lean on your tax advisor. It's almost tax filing season, or it is for some folks. We've got taxes coming up. We've got, maybe you haven't looked at your financial portfolio in a while. Get with your financial advisor. Set up a call. Review that. Get with your insurance agent. Review your insurance coverages on your vehicles, on your home, your renter's insurance if you're renting. Have a conversation with your agent. Have a conversation with your lender. Just use your professional network around you. And if you don't have that professional network, we are here to support you and guide you and lead you to some of those business professionals that can help you.
Thank you so much, and appreciate you out there today.
Take care.
Take care.
Have a great week.
Bye.